Hi, my name is Keith Van Beek, and I serve as the City Manager for Holland. I hope you have enjoyed and found these videos highlighting 2020 and looking forward to 2021 helpful. COVID-19 forced us to be creative. I want to thank our communications and video team, but also our entire city leadership team for making these videos. We had to adapt under the circumstances, and we will use these videos in new ways because of COVID. I hope that you've seen this spirit in your departments and employees, that our people have adapted and figured out how to provide great services to our residents in the most unusual of years. To suggest a theme for this year, I'm going to borrow from our employee assistance provider, Pine Rest, and specifically Holland resident Bob Vandepol, who in a training for our staff to deal with the stress of 2020 made up the term Surthriver. This has certainly been an unbelievably difficult year for citizens, businesses, nonprofits, and also for our employees. Your city organization has been focused not just on surviving, but also looking at how we can thrive on behalf of our citizens. Bob suggested that people and organizations that thrive share some common characteristics. A focus on the mission, in our case to maximize livability. Communicating and connecting to the why behind the what that we do. And having the trust of people around you. A specific trust that we have in each other's competence, character, and compassion. I think our video reports have demonstrated that Holland is surviving and will again thrive. The videos you have seen and the accompanying handouts followed a structure. First, highlights of calendar year 2020 and especially the first 6 months of fiscal year 2021. This provides both a report on how we have done, but also our present circumstances. Second, priorities for the remainder of calendar year 2021 followed, which both close fiscal year 2021, but also inform council as we build the budget for fiscal year 2022. These priorities provide council with a person on the front lines perspective. I will not try to recap everything presented so far, but I do have a few items specific to the city manager, but also overall council priorities or themes that span multiple departments. This first slide shows what was presented last year at this time, what I thought our priorities would be for calendar year 20, fiscal year 21. The Protection Against Discrimination Ordinance was investigated by the city attorney and myself, presented without recommendation to council, and adopted on August 19. We were thankful to receive a report with recommendations from our friends at Ottawa County on our board, committee, commission structure. Unfortunately, we have not made as much progress on studying and implementing those recommendations with the impacts of COVID, so we will need to pick that work back up. Waterfront Holland had 2 significant steps. In January, council adopted a Waterfront Holland vision, diagram, statement, and principles. And then on December 16, approved a specific implementation pathway with our consulting partners. Citizen engagement. Our citizen survey is complete and we are excited to share those results with you soon. But I could also make the case that in 2020, in the midst of a pandemic, we likely saw more citizen engagement than any prior year. The methods changed, with lines outside of our in-person meetings, increased use of social media and videos, and the creation of public comment emails. The subjects were varied and sometimes intense. Discrimination ordinance, 30th Street sidewalks, 10th Street cycle track, the community energy plan, UDO, responses to COVID, and many more. But citizens are engaged in our work. Sadly, the West Michigan Express was a victim of the pandemic, both with cuts in the state budget, but also obvious uncertainty with safety and the future of how people congregate and travel. This idea is not gone, but sidelined. Speaking of other regional partnerships, several arose in the community in the face of COVID. The nonprofit response to meet social needs, a host of DEI efforts in response to racial unrest from our friends at LEDA, the West Coast Chamber, the Principal Shopping District, United Way, the Community Foundation, in addition to the programs put on by our Human Relation and International Relations programs. Other planned and continued partnerships included ODC on sustainability education, Park Township Retail Water Agreement, MAC Communities on the No Wake Zone, and the Holland Area Arts Council with our new art program. And there were more. Staffing. Especially in the face of COVID, this is a bragging point for me, for us. We have been served by an amazing group of dedicated and professional people, and the support of council for this group is greatly appreciated. The successful transition of our finance director and other positions continue to demonstrate we are a place of choice to work. Between the success with our union contracts, our wage and classification study implementation, our increased levels of training, the state of our employee relations is outstanding. Other highlights from 2020 and council priorities or unplanned items include COVID. What a difficult year for so many of our citizens, our frontline workers, our schools, and also our small business community. We have and will continue to rally. We were able to utilize significant CDBG funding to assist local partners, especially in housing assistance and food insecurity. The downtown group and our communications team assisted with One Holland efforts and added flexibility to support downtown and other small business. Council supported a budget that was made to be amended, and we have and will continue to have at least quarterly updates on our status. DEI. There were many internal but also community efforts, highlighting the partnerships Esther does such a great job cultivating and growing. These include passing the Protection Against Discrimination Ordinance, co-hosting the Diversity Forum and doing additional staff training with our partner Ottawa County, and additional funding and training not only for our leadership, specifically our human resources and human relations directors, but also for all of our staff. Affordable housing. Council approved housing development support documents, but there were also many active projects that I believe are often overlooked. Black River Flats on the south entrance to our city, Habitat for Humanity and Jubilee projects on 40th Street, ongoing work with our existing housing stock by Partners for Renewal, including the apartments on Maple Avenue, the Surplus City Property Project on 36th Street, and much more where our housing stock at other price points are expanding and more are in the pipeline. Sustainability and the Community Energy Plan. The Strategic Development Team is meeting every 2 weeks. We have a new Assistant City Manager position for both economic development and sustainability with a great partnership to start this work, a newly reformed and advertised sustainability position, a great new recycling program coming this spring, a partnership with the ODC to enhance our community education, a new alternative fuel vehicle and equipment policy with new hybrid and electric vehicles in our fleet, rain garden projects with MAC as a partner, utilizing the green energy rate for city and BPW electricity. Finally, priorities. Staff has given you all many things to consider as you discuss priorities for fiscal year 22. Here are a few items from my perspective. COVID and budget implications. There is still a great deal of uncertainty in how this impacts not only our residents, our businesses, but by extension, this city budget. This all is yet to play out. Staff capacity and care. I bragged about our people earlier, and I would not trade our staff with any other community, but I also want to be careful. 3 things in particular. 1, COVID has and will continue to test the endurance of our people and we cannot afford to have them running on fumes. 2, the core of city services, plowing snow, picking up leaves, responding to emergency calls, running water, permits for home improvement, safe parks. These things always continue, they seem to speed up, and there always is a demand for more. And I don't want to take any of that for granted. And third, we have many exciting and transformational things before us, but they all take time and attention. Our community always demands a lot of us, which is great. We just have to watch the balance and not sacrifice a certain quality for quantity. There are big community questions. Waterfront Holland will lead what we expect to be a continued strong interest in development in Holland. This could likely include a public vote connected to Waterfront Holland, but also significant residential projects in downtown and beyond. The Broadband Task Force will also complete their work, and I suspect council and perhaps the community will have choices to make. Do people want a public broadband option? And if so, how do we pay for it? The Strategic Development Team will have a set of recommendations on the Community Energy Plan later in the year, and we have many sustainability efforts that will continue to emerge. Council will also soon receive the final UDO recommendations from the Planning Commission, which would culminate years of intense and important work. And the Community and Neighborhood Services Department and the Planning Commission is expected to stay busy with development. Not only the Waterfront Holland items, but other residential and continued manufacturing expansion. I suspect that several affordable housing projects requesting pilot or MSA agreements could be requested of council. Our contributions to DEI work will continue. There will be a special focus within our organization, including equity toolkit work with Ottawa County. But external, more partnerships with community organizations that have a focus on DEI work now today more than ever before. Regional partnerships. Relationships are strong and getting stronger, and there are always more possibilities to make our larger community even better for all. So, thank you. Thanks to our community that we are able to serve and that challenges us as an organization to be our best. Thanks to our employees and community partners that work so hard to make this community a special place. And thank you to Mayor and Council for your leadership and support.